Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2026 ski test. Today we're talking about this Rossignol Sender-Free 118. This thing is massive. I feel like that goes without saying, but huge ski. It's the widest ski that Rossignol makes, and it puts it really squarely in the powder ski conversation. And even among the powder ski conversation, this is a pretty specific tool here. When you get up to 118 underfoot, this is really intended for deep snow conditions. So whether you're in Utah, somewhere that gets a lot of snowfall, maybe you live in Alaska, maybe you ski just like huge big mountain lines in Alaska, Pacific Northwest, stuff like that. I can't say that it has much of a purpose here in Stowe or in New England. I know there are some people that ski stuff this wide around here, but to me this is a Western ski, Japan, places that get a lot of snow and you want endless float, because outside of really deep snow conditions, a ski like this comes along with a pretty significant set of limitations. You can ski it on a groomer, you can ski it not in deep snow, but it just doesn't feel that great, and it really wants to be where things are deep. It's also like a pretty hefty ski. It's a poplar wood core, and then Rossignol uses Diago fiber, which is something that we've seen them use for a long time, and it actually came from the race world. It adds a little bit of torsional stiffness, which is nice because when you get up this wide, skis can get kind of floppy, and this is not a floppy ski by any means. This is only a 176 centimeter length here. There's a 186 too, and we're already almost at 2,300 grams. So it's certainly not light. If anything, it's on the heavier side of the spectrum when it comes to skis like this. And then pretty supportive flex pattern from that build. It's not jarringly stiff. Enough flex here that it's going to work nicely as a powder ski, but it's supportive too. And then the shape, the shape is pretty much exactly what you'd think you'd find in a big powder ski. It's super wide, and it's got a lot of rocker, and it's got a 25-meter turn radius in this 176. So that is going to do a number of different things. You get tremendous amounts of float from a ski this big. You also don't have like abrupt early taper. Some powder skis will really kind of taper in the tips and tails, and some people really like that, some people don't. It's totally a personal preference thing. What happens when you don't have that early taper is you get like increased amounts of float from the tips and tails. The argument against it is that it can feel a bit much. If you're less aggressive or timid and you're learning in powder, you might not love this shape. But I've always really liked it. I guess I'm the type of skier that if I can maximize float, even in the tips and tails, I kind of like it because you can use it to your advantage. And also if you're into things like nose butters and stuff like that, then it's going to be really fun. And then that 25-meter turn radius, it sounds kind of like intimidating when you're talking about a ski this big and you talk about a 25-meter turn radius, but realistically it actually kind of adds in a little bit of forgiveness, because it's sort of like backwards with turn radius when you get into soft snow, because you're not, well, you can, but you're generally not like carving a round turn when you're in really deep snow. There's generally some amount of kind of releasing of the tail edge, and when you have a long turn radius, it actually makes it easier to release different sections of the ski, because it's never like interacting with the snow surface and the ski wanting to do something. It'll just go straight until you tell it that you want to do something. So pretty cool. And then, when it comes to performance, when it comes to application, it's pretty cut and dry. I don't think you have to overthink it here. If you want a big, strong powder ski, this is a really good choice. I think it's also pretty important to bring up that it is kind of more of a twin tip than anything else. It's really not a directional ski. So if you're like, to go back to those big mountain Alaska lines, if you're like really hard charging Alaska lines and you're a fully directional skier, you might want something with a flatter tail and with more of a setback mount point. If you're more of that freestyle aligned skier, or even that you just have that kind of background, then chances are you'll love this thing, especially if you ski fast and aggressively. So that's it. That is the Sender Free 118 from Rossignol. Let us know if you have any questions about it, and we will see you out there on the slopes.